Today we're talking about the Xbox Series X 1 year later, and is it actually worth it? Let's dive in. My name's Tyler, welcome back to Nanotech, and can you believe that this device right here is an entire year old? Well, it is, and I want to tell you all about it, the things I like, maybe the things I don't like, but what you're looking at here is currently the most powerful console on the market. That's what they like to tell you, and if you look at the specs, they are technically right. Just a quick little reminder of what those are. An 8-core custom Zen 2 CPU that runs at 3.8 gigahertz, a 12 teraflops GPU, 16 gigs of GDDR6 memory, a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray drive, and last but not least, a 1 terabyte custom NVMe SSD. And speaking of the storage, if you watched my unboxing, we did pick up the Seagate proprietary expansion SSD. 1 terabyte of storage at $220. Now here's the thing, proprietary sucks. I don't care how you look at it, proprietary anything is always trash. However, in this case, this thing is so easy to use. You just take this, you plug it in the back of this, you're done. You've now installed it. Now, the thing is, however you want to look at it, upgrading your PS5 is so incredibly easy. And on the flip side of that, at least with Sony, it's not proprietary, so you can sort of shop around. You just still need a Gen 4 NVMe, but those prices will go down inevitably. And hopefully Xbox and Microsoft are good about bringing down the price of this, but they actually just announced a new 512 gigabyte version and a 2 terabyte version. 2 terabyte being $399 and the 512 gigabyte version being $139.99. So a little steep. Now, the thing I was super curious about when I picked this up is would it perform at the same as the internal, and didn't notice a single difference. Installed the same games on the expansion storage, then removed them and put them onto the standard internal 1 terabyte, and I noticed literally 0 differences in loading times. So at least there is that. But again, proprietary can kind of suck, but ease of use is still definitely there, which is kind of the whole point of a console, I guess. So plus, minus, you decide. Now, moving on from the storage, the actual device itself, very low key. Obviously, when you're coming from a current generation that is either PS5, Series X, Nintendo Switch, which actually technically the new OLED with its white dock is definitely trying to make a bit of a statement. And I think this is the one that probably fits into most people's entertainment setup the best and the easiest. It's blocky, it doesn't really make a statement, but I don't know if a lot of people buying a console for their entertainment setup is wanting to make a statement. Let me know down below. So yeah, I don't know what else there is to say. They actually ended up coming through and designing an actual fridge that looks like a Series X, so that's a thing, but it's boxy, it can lay horizontally, you can stand it up vertically, so it does give you options depending on how your setup looks. I guess the last thing that I will say about the hardware is that they did promise a silent running machine. It's supposed to be super innovative with how it cools itself, and a year later, having this thing plugged in and running nearly every single day, it does its whole thing where it's never really off, right, if it thinks it's doing stuff. So I'll put the mic up to it, let's see. I'm sure we gotta be picking up something here, but there you go. Next up, controller. Have you used an Xbox One controller before? Because if you have, you've probably used an Xbox Series X controller. The main real 3 differences here are that we now have a share button, an actual dedicated share button, an upgraded D-pad. I will say I do like this D-pad substantially more than the one on this. That's definitely gonna come down to a preference thing. I know some people don't think that, but I personally do like this D-pad better, and you are getting a better texture. There's definitely something about the texture they added to the triggers as well as to the back of this controller that does make it feel like a much more premium experience. However, well, not really much so, however, it's just a situation that Microsoft said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I'm totally here for it because it's still a fantastic controller. And yeah, there's not much else to say there. Next up, games. Or lack thereof. But something I'm really curious about, by the way, if you're enjoying this, hit that like button. If you're new, subscribe. Do you pick up a console with the idea that it's going to be like the center of your entertainment setup? And what I mean by that, are you going to use it as your Disney Plus machine, as your Netflix machine, as your Hulu machine? I'm not saying like, do you occasionally browse through those apps on this, but is it your primary entertainment like device? Is it replacing your Fire TV, your Roku, all of that? I'm so curious, let me know. So definitely tell me down below in the comments. So games, Microsoft has made it so obvious. They do not care about trying to sell this to you with the idea that you're playing games exclusively on this console. Matter of fact, as of the filming of this, the only true, like, notable Series X exclusive that isn't available like on an Xbox One and all of that, the medium, but it was like a timed window, is Microsoft Flight Simulator. That is not available on the Xbox One. My guess is because an Xbox One can't run it, but it is on an Xbox Series X. But like I was saying, they've made an environment that invites itself to play anywhere, right? That's their thing. Games available on xCloud, games available on PC, games still available on Xbox One. The fact that Forza Horizon 5 is still on an Xbox One, Halo is on going to be on an Xbox One. They're really dedicated to this platform that allows this availability to as many people as possible. That is awesome. However, then you ask yourself, why do I want this? And the reason being is because if you care about everything that this sort of platform has to offer, then this is going to be your best and easiest place to play. Now, I'm not saying you've got some massive high-end PC with a 3080, 3080 Ti, 3090, whatever, that this is going to replace that. However, in some cases, very close. But if you're looking for ease of use, you're looking for a console that can do everything you want it to do in the Microsoft Xbox ecosystem, then they know this is the best place to do it. And after a year of using it, I can confirm that. I have had so much fun using this console. Now, I've been like a dual adopter of both the PlayStation and Xbox ecosystem day one as a PS4 and Xbox One. And I can tell you, while I've played both a ton in the last year, it has surprised me how much more I've actually turned to using my Series X. Substantially more. The first year of the Xbox One and the PS4, I mean, that Xbox One got turned on for like Rise, and not much more. And then you flip over to this, and I'm finding myself turning my Series X on all of the time. And a big reason, and I cannot make this video without mentioning it, is Game Pass. Now, I, like many other people, am absolutely against a digital rights future. It is terrible. The idea, it's just terrible. It's terrible. Literally this week, we just got the announcement of the fact that Jump Force, they didn't tell us why, but Jump Force is being taken away from all the storefronts as of next year, digitally, of course. You can still go buy it physically, but digitally, it'll be, boom, gone. And it sucks. It just straight up sucks. However, with Game Pass, especially with how many like deals that they do where you can get it for like, what, $2 for like 3 months or something, or 99 cents sometimes, like 3 months. And the fact that they're offering their games day one with the included, like you don't have to purchase anything else. You just buy Game Pass. And by the way, I swear I'm not trying to shill this right now. It's just that good of a deal. That's the thing. And that's why so many people talk about it. And that's why I think they released the numbers and they're at like 20 million active users on Game Pass. But right now, if you've had it before and you just start back up, for $20, 2 months of access to Game Pass, you can play Forza Horizon 5 and Halo. Now, obviously, once Game Pass is over, you can't play those anymore. For 20 bucks, you get 2 months access to those games, including the rest of the Game Pass access. It's just crazy. I've talked to my friends into playing some games on their PC. They don't have a Series X because I've not addressed this yet, but they're still so incredibly to get a hold of. But I've managed to talk them into picking up Game Pass on PC to check out games. And it's so much easier to talk someone into like, it's just $10. And then you can cancel it. You can make sure it doesn't renew right away. And then you have access to the entire Game Pass library on your PC, or if you're doing it on Series X or wherever, right? That's the whole point of it. And speaking of actual like games, I am recording this as of the launch of Forza Horizon 5. And I think it is probably the first, in my personal opinion, true console seller, right? Again, you could play it on an Xbox One X or an Xbox One. Same thing with Halo, which comes out next month. But to have the absolute best experience, because this game looks insane. If you haven't seen anything about Forza Horizon 5, you're seeing it on your screen right now. It's crazy. And to experience it at its most like optimal settings, here you go, right? It does look good on an Xbox One, by the way. Pretty impressive, but it doesn't compare to playing it on a Series X. Beyond that, obviously, I am personally very excited for Halo, and I'm sure everyone else is as well. And that will be another console seller. Beyond those two games, we don't really know what's going on with all the other developers that they've purchased. We know that Bethesda may or may not release their game next year. I still don't believe it's gonna actually come out next year. And also, I'm just gonna be 100%, I wasn't that impressed with the demo that we saw. I'm still gonna play it, it's Bethesda. I just wasn't that impressed with it, that's all I'm saying. However, things like the Hellblade sequel, very excited for that. Things like Fable coming back. There's just a lot of stuff to get excited for in the future, but right this second, play some Microsoft Flight Sim, play Forza Horizon, play Halo next month. Now I could talk about games forever, But let's focus back up on the actual tech side of this and talk about two of my absolute favorite features this console has that I've used a ton over the last year, and that is Quick Resume. Quick Resume is just so awesome. On the flip side of this is not meant to be a comparison video or a versus video or anything like that. By the way, stay tuned to a PS5 vid similar to one like this, but the PS5 can boot games really, really fast. However, it doesn't have a quick resume feature at all. In some cases, it's not as big of a deal, but if you're like me, I have attention problems and I love to switch between games all the time, especially, and I hear other people say this all the time, but it's really good if you have a group of friends you play a multiplayer game with, but waiting on them, you're playing a single player game like AC Valhalla or something like that, and then they're ready to go, switch to your multiplayer game like Apex or something, then you're done playing with your group, you got another hour, you can play some games, back to your single player game. Quick Resume works like that, picks right up where you're left off, and it's awesome. Now, another thing the Xbox offers is its FPS boost feature, which brings a whole new life to a ton of older games. It actually includes some 360 titles as well, and it's just really, really cool to see these older games boosting a 30 FPS game to a 60 FPS game, which, as we all know, can be such a drastic change when it comes to experiencing these games. So the FPS boost feature, Quick Resume feature, both absolutely fantastic. Now, to wrap this up, I could probably sit here and talk about this Series X for an hour or more. Is it worth it? Right now, a year hands-on with it. I think if you're sitting there with an Xbox One X or a really high-end PC and you don't need something at a TV or in a convenient location where a PC is not so convenient, you could probably still wait a little bit. Halo is literally in a month, and as you can see, like, I'm smiling just thinking about it because I'm so excited for Halo Infinite. And Forza Horizon 5, I do believe, is a good enough game to be a console seller. But these consoles are still really difficult to get. If we are talking about you trying to make the decision going into the holidays, paying scalper prices for one of these, I don't know if I can suggest it to you at that. If you're spending $800, $900, $1,000 to get one of these right here, right now, I don't know if I could say that. You're getting one at retail though, you play a lot of Xbox games, you're looking at the value of Xbox Game Pass, which is just, again, astounding. Also, not trying to shill this, I promise you, I'm not, I swear. Some of y'all pointed out sometimes these feel like they're ads for these things. I swear to you, they're not. I just generally a positive person, and Game Pass is just insanely worth. But if you're in a position where you can get this at retail, you're super deep in the Xbox ecosystem, or you want to be because of things like Game Pass, because of things like the whole play anywhere type of thing, and you have a PC you sit at and love to play at, and you want to pick those games up laid back on your couch with your TV, and you want to play them in the best way possible, then yes, I think it's absolutely worth it. I really do. I have been so impressed with the Series X over the last year. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I've used it substantially more than I ever thought I would. I picked it up because I wanted to make sure I had it to be ready for Halo, to be ready for Horizon 5, to be ready for Fable, ready for whatever else coming down the pipeline from all of the exclusive first-party developers that Microsoft has acquired, and I just wanted to be ready for it. But here we are a year later, finally getting to some of these next-gen experiences, and I am here to say, if you can pick up one at retail, looking to dive into the ecosystem, yes, I think it is absolutely worth it. But that is it for me. Xbox Series X 1 year later review. As always, if you enjoyed this, hit that like button. If you're new, subscribe. Let me know what you think down below. If you've had one for a year and you just watched this to hear my thoughts on it as well, let me know if there's something you thought I missed. Some awesome feature I didn't mention, or maybe a game I didn't mention. Let me know down below. But that's it for me. You have a great day. Keep on keeping on. Tyler signing off. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.